out. It's like you just got a big fucking Scotch egg that you eat wash. I think that's all. See?
So, Drew, do you want to explain what's happened for the past 5 minutes? What we've been trying to figure out?
We've had technical difficulties due to the volume where we can't hear each other, and I think it was me. Typical blonde, can't figure out technology.
No comment. James, what can we expect today with you three?
Just, I think, blatant honesty and fun. We're all fun. We're all fun. I'm fun. Don't know about you. You're fun.
Kourtney, how can you respond to that one?
We're all fun. We're all fun. I'm fun. Don't know about you.
Why is it echoing? That just really echoed. It's weird.
I think he's got 2 devices on. That's probably why.
Yeah. So, Kourtney, as I was saying then, what can we expect for today?
Loads. Oh my days, I can't talk now. Loads of fun, honestly, and yeah, what happens like within wrestling or our futures and that.
Of course. So enough from rambling on from me. I'm going to roll the intro. It's over to you guys. Take it away.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hold on. There's already 2 comments already. Oh, it's Ryden. It's Ryden.
What's Ryden? Yeah. Oh, hello.
Hi.
And Damien Black.
Oh, Damien Black.
Hi,
Guns
Damien.
up.
Guns up, indeed. So, well, hello.
Hello. What are we going to talk about?
I don't know. I suppose we're going to have to talk about wrestling, aren't we?
Well, speaking of wrestling, has anyone watched Money in the Bank yet?
No, because I don't like wrestling.
What?
You all. See, a lot of people think I'm joking when I say I don't like wrestling. I really don't like wrestling. Don't like watching it.
So why did you get into it then? Like, what was the reason for you to get involved?
If you don't like wrestling, why are you commentating and watching?
You know, but I don't want to break people's characters.
True. But you've got like a background.
There is a reason why, but I don't want to break. Well, no, because what do you call it? Fab aid or something. What's it called?
Kayfabe.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, you've got a background in kind of TV and stuff anyway, haven't you? Like, you've done a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah. So as a teenager, I did some stuff with ITV. That's all over YouTube and stuff. And then from there, it went to stage stuff, and then I got bored of it and stopped doing it. And I think to be fair, wrestling's got me back into it and kind of got me the drive to get back on it. You know what I mean? It's
give you that to get involved. Because you're still doing the stuff that you did before. It's just a different genre, which is wrestling. So even if you might not enjoy it, you're still, doing your passion of the commentating and being on TV and stuff like that.
It is because it's a character. I get to make the character up. I get to perform as the character and be on TV, be streamed and stuff. And to me, it's just another acting role, it's an acting job. So if you tell me to do something that I don't really like doing, but I'm going to do it the best as I can because that's what an actor does, even though they don't want to do it, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I enjoy the music of it. I enjoy the lights of it, and I enjoy. Sometimes there's like on pay-per-views and stuff like that you can see I'm getting into it, kind of thing. Like it's got to be really, really good for me to get into it, and that's when I start screeching a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's the build-up, isn't it? Because like for pay-per-views for me, I love them because I like kind of like get a new outfit for a pay-per-view now. So it's that whole process of like, oh, what am I going to get? And it might be just an outfit to some people, but for me, that's like the starting point of me getting excited about something because I'm putting the work in and stuff to finally not only showcase it, but also it's that kind of build up to that big show. And the minute you start to like, put a show on, I'm all for it because I love performing. So I just see it as a performance.
Yeah, no, I get that. I like, I've got all my shiny suits and stuff like that. I've just bought a new one for Picky Poison, and some new shiny shoes as well. So I thought I'd go for shoes as well this time. But I like dressing up. I like to be able to dress flamboyant.
Really? I wouldn't have guessed. What about you, Kourtney? Like, what do you kind of like enjoy about wrestling?
Just being with you, to be honest, because like you boosted up my confidence and. And just being in front of a crowd.
Yeah,
it's. I know. I think that's why a lot of people do it because it's. And I'm sure some psychologists would explain it a bit better, but you get a rush out of it. It's a bit like a drug, isn't it? But once you get that pop and everyone's cheering for you and stuff, you want it again and again and again and again and again.
Yeah, I find that with any kind of performance, like when I'm doing kind of the drag shows, we're building up to obviously rehearsals and then getting the costumes and stuff ready. And then actually performing, that you might only be performing for like them 3 minutes, but the build up to that 3 minutes is like the adrenaline. And then as soon as you come off stage, you want to go back on. And that's like we're wrestling, like when I'm behind the curtain and Kourtney will vouch for me, sometimes I'm just stood there trying to like, get in my head of like what to remember. And as soon as the music hits, that's when the show starts for me. That's when like I'm it's almost like an out of body experience because you're putting on a character then. Like that's when I become the character. And the minute you come backstage, it's like you want to go again and again and again. So, yeah.
I think there's a question for Kourtney.
Oh.
Can you see it?
Yeah. I need glasses, don't I? What is the biggest thing you have learned from Drew? Fashion sense and how to dress. Like a diva.
A diva, yeah. Yeah, we're definitely taking it more into like the diva era. Like before I debuted and I watched the women, like they're so fiery and hardworking. It's like at one point I thought, am I good enough to even be with them? Because they're on such another level. Like you look at like Ruby and Easter and Leonie, and like they are athletes, they are wrestlers. So for me, like I knew when I came into it, I needed to like kind of add a little bit of spice. So I definitely looked at the diva era of like the costumes and the sassiness and the sarcasticness and stuff. So yeah, I'm glad that rubbed off on you.
You've kind of as well. I think it's more and more and more every single pay-per-view. I think you're gonna have to start coming down more and more earlier because the people queuing up to
you.
Yeah, for you.
My makeup.
Yeah. Me included now. Me
Yeah,
included.
it started off with at Celebration it was Anna, Nisa and Ruby. Then it was Leonie wanting her makeup done. Then Kirsty wanted her makeup done. Then Evan wanted his eye makeup done. And then last time you wanted yours done.
Yeah.
I'm surprised Kourtney didn't say anything, but she probably thought I was stressed as it is.
I think she should start charging people £5 a go.
I know.
Yeah,
I
but
always,
I already had makeup on though.
yeah, you did. You already had yours on. Kirsty had her kind of base on, but then she was like, "Oh, I wish you could have done my eyes." And I was like, "I'll do your eyes for you. I'll beat you up later, but I'll do your eyes now."
Yeah.
But no, it is fun. It is really fun. That's my job, so.
I think there's another from Ryden. I have a question for everyone. If wrestling wasn't a thing, what would you be doing? That's really, really hard. It's hard for me because I saw that question come up and I was trying to think of an answer. And I think it's hard to answer because wrestling has been a big part of my life now for like 15 years. So it is a hard question. It's a hard, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's from a really young age as well. From like being a child, I used to watch wrestling and stuff, and then yeah. So it's always been that. It's an hard one. It's like saying, I don't know, if you didn't have food, what would you eat? Kind of thing. It's like one of them. It's a good question, but it's an hard one to answer that one for me.
See, from my point of view, like if I wasn't wrestling, I'd be doing like what I do anyway, which is makeup and performing, like on the stage and stuff. I think maybe like if I wasn't wrestling, I'd push obviously to do more performances, but maybe definitely wanting to be on TV. Like, I mean, I've already had that experience and I loved it. And I was supposed to redo a TV show, like, but then lockdown happened, so it never came, about. But I think for me, like, I've always known, like, deep down that I'm not fit for, like, just, a 9-to-5 job. Like, I have to be creative in some aspect. So whether that's me doing makeup or performing, I'd definitely still be doing performing in one way or another, whether it was being on stage, doing drag, or just maybe doing more TV work. That's what I would be doing. I think with wrestling, you get like the base world because you get the wrestling, which is what I've grown up with, but then you get the being on TV of like the cameras and stuff, and then you get the live audience, which is like the crowd that you perform in. So it's like kind of like a whole thing. What about you, Kourtney?
If wrestling wasn't really a thing, I don't know. I think like I'd be doing cabin crew or health and beauty or hairstyling. But
you need to tell everybody how you got them guns because they are impressive.
no. I'm a part of the Royal Air Force. That's all I can say about my arms and my abs. But you keep saying I have, but I don't.
You do have abs. I look like the Michelin Man when I'm sitting next to you.
I have abs. Somewhere. We all have abs.
We all have abs.
Yeah.
But mine are hidden.
They're in there somewhere.
We've got any more questions? Or was that everything?
No questions. Yeah, don't forget you can ask any questions you want people. Get us talking with your questions.
Okay, so let's go back to Money in the Bank. I mean, James didn't watch it. Did you watch it, Kourtney? Oh my God. Did no one watch it? Just me? I've watched it twice. I watched it live last night and I've watched it again today.
I know. Is it Naomi who won it? Yeah, I know that she won it, but that's it.
It was really,
Um,
it was quite emotional seeing her win it, to be honest, because I wasn't expecting her. Like, I kind of had a feeling Rhea wouldn't win because Rhea's Rhea. She's a star and like she's on in her own kind of field. But like, I thought Stephanie might have won it, but seeing Naomi win it was quite emotional actually, because that means that she's getting that push. But also, it might potentially mean that, you know, her, Jade, and Bianca might, you know, be in a WrestleMania match next year, which will be history making, having, you know, 3 black women, you know, in the pay per view. I think that's incredible. So, like, yeah, Naomi wasn't what I expected, but I'm actually kind of happy that she won. I just wish that there was a little bit more build up to it, because when she started climbing the ladder and she stopped, I thought something was going to happen, but then she got the briefcase. So I wanted maybe like one more element added to it. But oh, spoilers! Sorry, Kirsty. But Kourtney spoiled that, not me.
Me?
Yeah,
It wasn't
she
my
told
fault.
everybody. She told everybody.
It wasn't my fault.
So we need the social media for that. So
Got a question?
yeah, with the logo. Then 2026 comes.
Is there anyone inside UKW or outside UKW that you look up to? Well, within UKW, it's Drew, obviously, because I love the way how she dresses and her makeup and her style. Outside UKW, I don't know.
Jane?
Do I look up to anybody at UK? No, not really, because I don't want to be a wrestler. I don't want to be a wrestler, and it's no. There's nobody I look up to outside. Well, inside of UKW. I mean, yeah. Outside, no, I don't know. Do
you not have like an idol or anything like that? Do you not have anyone that like inspires you? Or is it like it doesn't even need to be in wrestling?
Oh.
Come back to
My
me.
brother.
What did you say, Kourtney?
My older brother, then, because he got me into wrestling to begin with, but then he, you know, and, you know, that inspired me to do wrestling. So.
Oh, that's cute.
I don't want to talk about it too much because I'll get upset, but hey ho.
Okay. I mean, we could go that route. Could be like, what is it? It could be like you know, like the Maury Povich. It could be like, right, and today, everybody, we're going to discuss the in-depth psychology of Kourtney. For me, I'd say like people within UKW, a lot of them inspire me, and I definitely look up to. Like, I look up to the girls because I just think that the fact that they're doing what they're doing is incredible, and they are very, very hardworking. I think the people that have maybe helped me on a personal level is probably, you know, Dylan Chase, and I'd say like Leonie Rose, like them two, just because I just feel like with Dylan, he's helped me with my character and pushing me to be not such a pussy. When he's like, lay them chops in, lay them 4 hours in, and I'm still doing it. I'm like, and just because I get worried about hurting people. I don't mind people hurting me, clearly, but yeah, like, so definitely with him, and then with Leonie, because she's helped me understand the psychology of wrestling, and like my storyline with her is probably like one of my favorites, just because there's definitely like, after the first match that I had with her, which I felt so much pressure, I could feel that chemistry, and I was like, there's something special here, like this could become connected than it was. And then I think someone that I really admire in wrestling is probably Evan Knight, because I really like his character. I think he's very he knows who he is. And it definitely inspired me to be a bit more vocal within wrestling after watching him. And then outside, I'd say like people that inspire me are just like my friends inspire me every day just because they get to, they be their true authentic selves every day, and seeing them be proud of who they are. To me, it's like the best thing ever, especially with what's going on in the world at the moment. And then obviously Lita was my idol growing up, so.
No, I think I'm the same. I think it is. It's now you say it is the people around me that inspire me to do what I do, and obviously there's one person that pushes me to do it, and that's how I got into the commentary role. Was kind of just go do it. You need to do it, kind of thing, and then that person believing in me is a good one.
I think that you've just hit the nail on the head there, because it's about people believing in you. Like, you go through so much self-doubt and think, oh, do I deserve to be here? Am I good enough to be here? I have that all the time. Like, I'll be in training and I'm such a perfectionist. So if something doesn't go right, it really grates on me. Like, if I mess up in a match, it'll play on my mind over and over again. But then I've had people tell me, no, don't fret on that. Just look for the next match. That's all you can do. You can't change the past. So I think for me, like, it's having them people believing in you that really help not just mold you into like a better person, but like, a better wrestler. So
Yeah.
Can I upset everyone?
No.
Shall we have a little debate?
Okay.
Wrestling, not a sport.
What do you mean?
It is.
I don't think wrestling is a sport or should be classed as a sport. Pro wrestling should not be classed as a sport.
It is a sport, though. Keeping fit and physical.
No,
Did I say that right?
that's doing exercise. Exercise isn't a sport.
Do you mean like the kind of wrestling that we do? Would you not class it as a sport?
No, I would class it as entertainment.
Okay.
He's on to the MJF.
I've had this debate loads of times with people and stuff, because like the classification of a sport is two individuals or teams competing to win something.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Because obviously with wrestling, there's, we're not going to spoil it for people, but there is that element where, we know, if that makes sense. Yeah. I think that with that, like, whenever people have asked, how do you feel about winning and losing? I think because there isn't that element of it's actually you are competing on like a sport level, it doesn't really make a difference to me anyway, whether I win or lose, as long as I can entertain people. So I do get what you mean, but I don't want to be a part of this debate. I'm just going to drink my cup of tea.
Yeah, because with what you're saying there as well, it frustrates me sometimes as well when I'm just stood there and people will come up to me and they'll go, "Oh, this is happening again, and that's happening again, and other things happening again." And I'm like, "Well, no, you've won because you're booked. As soon as you are booked, you have won. Doesn't matter if the person is going over or if there's a belt involved or anything like that. You have won because you're on that show." Oh, that's my Alexa. Somebody's at the door. They can wait. But yeah, so it frustrates me a little bit when people are saying that, because it's like then you look over and you go, well, I know that person would have loved to be on the show tonight and they're not bothered, kind of thing. And then you get the ones that are go, "Oh, it doesn't bother me if I've got a belt or blah, blah, blah. I'm doing it for the story and stuff like that." But then the whinge.
Yes, I've met people like that. And
the do proper whinge like, "Oh, well, you go, oh, have you got a match night? Yeah, but the same thing's happening again as it always does, and kind of thing. It's like you're getting booked. You're on a show. You know, I think as well, a lot of people at UK wrestling, especially, are spoiled. Are spoiled because they've got 2 shows a week and a big, massive pay-per-view a week. So I think they're spoiled in that they have loads of shows and stuff, where if you go to like other promotions and stuff like that, some of them wrestlers may not be wrestling once a month for their promotions and stuff like that. And I think it's kind of that spoiled brat syndrome that some people get. Cause of not out of their own fault, just because they're used to being on shows all the time, at least once a week, so they're expecting it.
Yeah, I get that. I think like for me, I just get honoured when I'm even asked, because it's like that person's saying basically like, we want you to be on because you're doing good. That's how I view it. And again, taking like the winning and losing out of it, like for me, that's all that I care about. Is if I've been booked, that shows that I'm doing something right for that promotion, and they believe in me.
It's the performance, isn't it? That's what you're doing it for. You're doing for the rush of the performance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I felt like I was, asked to debut like too soon for myself. But then at the same time, because I got asked to debut, it made me think, oh, maybe I'm just overthinking it in my head. But again, I think that's where the perfectionist thing comes out, because I want to be like the best that I can be. And at that moment in time, I felt like I was still learning. But even to this day, I'm still learning so much, and I don't think you will ever stop learning within wrestling. You can only get better if you put the hard work in.
Yeah, that annoys me as well, when wrestlers are coming and they're training for 6 months and then they get on shows and then they stop training. They're like, oh, I don't need to train anymore, I'm a pro wrestler.
Yeah. You need to train regardless, because, you need to be able to, like, remember doing stuff. Like, I take a lot of arm drags. I don't really give a lot of arm drags when I'm wrestling. So when I get the opportunity to do that in training, it's like I'm refreshing it in my head, because I don't do it as often. So, like, I think when you get to train, it's not like, the thing is, if you was in WWE, you would have to train constantly at the Performance Center, and it's like we wrestle twice a week maybe, but just because you're wrestling, like, you still need to train, because you need to develop your skills, you need to get better. Like, for me, I really struggled doing a combat role, and I've only just figured it out a year or 2 years later. So, like, I agree on that aspect. Like, I think you should still train regardless. I get people's jobs and stuff get in the way, but when you do get that opportunity, just showing up shows that you're wanting to learn and better your craft.
And I mean the amount of wrestling promotions and schools and training places and stuff that are out there at the moment. I mean, I don't think anybody really can have an excuse to say, oh, I can't train, because you make time when you're booked to get onto that show. So even if there's, I would say off the top of my head, knowing what's in the local area, you could possibly train at least once a day if you wanted to, at different places. And I think that's the thing as well. People need to train at different places as well, because I think, I'm not naming names or anything like that, because I'm not like that, but I think people get stagnant in the same place, especially when you're wrestling the same people and stuff like that. Your skill sets kind of go down. So my opinion with watching wrestling and stuff like that, like, you need to go other places and wrestle. You need to learn off other people. If you get,
yeah, like for me, because I went from just working part-time to being a manager, I would be coming straight from work to UKW to do the show. So then any day that I did get off, even if it was on a day where UKW wasn't opening, like it's open, because they're open on a Monday, Wednesday and a Saturday, aren't they? I would still try and train elsewhere. So like I used to go with, you know, Gemma to Marty Jones's in Manchester at Squared Circle, and I learned a lot from him. And then I used to go to Madhouse Wrestling before that shut. And it was like, I understand if you do go to different promotions and learn, you can learn different aspects and stuff, and they can see a different side of you that you might not, that your trainer might not see in one place. So yeah, I do think that, like, you know, there are so many like places out there.
it does, because it comes back on what you said earlier, and touching up on what I said as well, with that everybody's still learning. Nobody's at the top of the game. I don't think any like professional wrestlers in like the big leagues like WWE and stuff like that would ever say that they are like at the top. They are the experts. They don't need to train anymore or stuff like that, because everybody is learning. There's always new things to learn every single day. And like you said, even your trainers are learning new things and stuff like that, but they can't learn new things when they're stuck in one's place.
Yeah, I think that's the good thing for me at the moment, because obviously, you know, I'm injured. So like in my head, when I was like about to obviously lose my job, I was like, oh my God, like I'm going to have all this free time now where I can train and really, you know, master my craft and get better. But like, obviously this is devastating because it's just put everything on a halt now. So like for me, when I am ready to, you know, start training again, I really want to develop my kind of skills, and I want to kind of change it a little bit. I think I was too focused on trying to like do moves that other wrestlers that I like do, when actually it's about, I want to start adapting to like a new style that fits me more. And so like I'm definitely going to be pushing myself to go to different places, so that when I feel like I'm strong enough and when my obviously fit is strong enough to make a comeback, hopefully then I'll, you know, have it show people a different side of me. But yeah, how are you finding training, Kourtney? We did have a question as well, and I missed it.
It was, do you think fans can be too critical when it comes to wrestling? I mean, I do, but I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I think because they get lost in the stories and lost in the magic of wrestling, that's when they become a bit too critical. But I think it's good because we know. Well, I can't say it for all wrestlers and stuff, but I can say it for definitely you, Drew, you, Kourtney as well, some others that I know as well, know that they've been critical about the character and not them. So they can kind of do that step back thing. So like when people are going, oh, we hate you, Drew and Ashlyn and stuff like that, you know that's your character. You know it's not you. And oh,
I mean, I do. We don't know that.
You're a turncoat, Kourtney. What you doing? You're brainwashed. Blah blah blah. You know they're not talking about you. They're talking about the fantasy of the character. Yeah? And like when the kids are shouting at me, going, "We hate you, James," all that lot, and booing me and stuff. I know it's not directed at me. It's directed at JustJames, not James, kind of thing.
I think when you have your name, because obviously I have my own name to wrestle under, so sometimes that can be really hard for people to differentiate. You know, Drew Ashlyn as the person, and then Drew Ashlyn as the character. Like, I wasn't sure if we were going to be in character, so I kind of got dressed up just in case. But like, you know, normally I'd be like a band rock t-shirt, and I mean, you don't want to do that.
Here's a spoiler for everyone: we're really not nasty people. We're really quite nice people.
I'm probably the geekiest person ever. I mean, I've had to take this down just for the facade, but like I've got a big Joker canvas that sits in my room.
Looks like you, James. I'm kidding.
Oh, thanks. I wish I
Look
was
at me.
skinny.
A big red lip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think fans can be very critical, but again, I think it's from a passionate side point. Like I remember when it was Rhea versus who is it now? Oh, it was when it was Dominic was in the cage and it was Rhea versus Liv, and then Raquel had come she come back, and then obviously it kind of got the match DQ'd. I was really annoyed because I wanted that big conclusion from Rhea and Liv, but then it's like, oh, when you look at it from like a bigger standpoint, having Raquel add depth to Liv's character. So it's like there's always a reasoning within it. It's just sometimes it can be frustrating because as much as you might love that wrestler, they might not be ready to win, or they might not be ready to, get that push at that moment in time, even though you really want it. So yeah, like I think they can be critical, but I think it's more from a passionate point of view that you have to, as a wrestler, you have to kind of not take it to heart. Like when people say I suck or whatever, or like they hate that I'm champion, or when I did my announcement and then the little kids were clapping when I said I broke my foot. You have to separate it because they're looking at it as Drew Ashlyn, the wrestler's broke a foot, not the actual person. So like you do need a thick skin when it comes to that. If you're a babyface, it's different because then you get the admiration. But when you're a heel, you definitely need you need to have a thick skin because you can't let it affect you. Like when I get booed, I see it as a really good thing because then I'm doing my job and I'm selling that character. Yes, I might like high five, a few of the kids if they're like a fan of me, but then I just add that to my character being really big headed and thinking she's amazing. Do you know what I mean? So
That's true. I'm trying to find a comment that I saved that they put on social media, and it were, I don't know why, but I liked it. But it was anybody else, I think, would have took it kind of the wrong way, and it was basically somebody saying, "Why was it? Because I took the belt. I think it was the time that I took the belt off Nisa and give it to Ruby, and this woman basically put a long stream of
Was it Jennifer? Was it Jennifer?
No, I've never seen this person before because obviously I look at the chats and stuff, and it was basically saying that I should be ashamed of myself. I'm the worst human being possible and stuff. I was like, Jesus, she's well invested in it, but it didn't bother me because I know it's towards JustJames, and that's the kind of what I want JustJames to be. I want people to be like, he is the scum of the earth kind of character stuff. Because it's like, I remember listening to stories on TV, of the some of the soaps and stuff, and the person that plays that character would be talking and going, well, I murdered somebody on the TV soap, but I was walking around, I don't know, a shopping centre, and I had old biddies like throwing stuff at me and shouting at me and actually trying to get the police's attention while I'm doing my food shopping kind of thing. Because they kind of get lost in the story that they don't realise it's not real.
Yeah.
Which is good. That means we're doing our jobs correctly if they're getting lost in the story.
I'm excited to see what happens with you, Kourtney, next.
Yes, I'm excited to see where that goes. I know the people that write it don't tell me much and write the stories and stuff. A lot of people like think I know what the stories are. Obviously, not giving too much away, but the person does not tell me. I find out the same time as everybody else does. Yeah.
Wow.
It's all very hush hush and to people's chests kind of thing. I've got another controversial thing as well because it really, really annoys me, and I want to know your thoughts on it because I don't think I've ever asked you. So, when in character as wrestlers in the ring, even if it's face or heel. We had the debate about whether or not we class it as a sport or entertainment. So I think it's entertainment. It's like acting as a sport, trying to portray that it is a sport in the acting entertainment world. So in my eyes, say for instance, Drew, you went up against, I don't know, Kirsty Love. Yeah, you're both heels, yeah. Or even you and Nisa or you and Ruby, whoever, you're up against that person, and your goal as a wrestler, as a sports person, any wrestler, and Kourtney, any wrestler, your main aim is to get up and up and up and up the wins to be able to get that belt. Yeah. In a sports world, that's a trophy, that's an accomplishment, that's so forth. So why is it when you're in that ring and you've just been battered to hell, you've worked your way up so far up to go, I want that belt? Because in the real world, if it was in the real world and not the world of wrestling, that belt could possibly mean the difference between, I don't know, a £20 million contract and not. You know what I mean? Like in football, you get a trophy, they get more money because they've got into the Premier League and blah, blah, blah. Are you still with me? Are you going with me?
Yeah.
I'm getting there. So in the ring...
I might lose track. Let me just plug myself in one sec.
You're in the ring. You're doing a match. This match is going to determine whether or not you're going to be the next number one contender for that gold, for that massive pay contract. With that pay contract, you're going to get all the sponsorship deals and all that lot that could be changing your life. But they've just completely destroyed you in that ring. They've battered you. You're now gone back down to the bottom of the ring. Why on earth are you shaking that person's hand?
Sign of respect?
No.
No. Okay.
No. They have just stopped you, Kourtney, from getting your, I don't know, buying your third house or a speedboat because you haven't got that contract. At that moment in time, if you're thinking as an actor at that moment in time, you are going to be so pissed off that they've just beaten you and you have lost. You are not going to want to go, oh, thanks for that. Thanks for beating the crap out of me.
I think the reason why that's the case when it comes to face-to-face is so that there's no way of having one or the other look more heelish. And I think by them shaking their hands, it still tells the audience that, yeah, they've lost, but they're still a goodie.
Okay, so thinking about the Olympics and stuff like that, they've just had a race. None of them are bad guys. They're all really nice people. They're all nice athletes. You'll never see them shaking each other's hands after that race. You'll see them shaking the hands about 3 hours after when they're on the podiums getting the medals and stuff. But straight after that race, they're pissed off that they haven't won. And us as actors, because that's what we are, we're actors. You're actors with a talent.
I'm not an actor. Don't know what you're on about.
No, we're real characters. You know what I mean? We're actors with your actors with a skill. I haven't got the skill of wrestling. No, thank you. I did one bump and crapped myself. But you know what I mean? As actors, we should be still portraying that sportsmanship. If you want it to be a sport, we need to be portraying it as a sportsmanship and stuff like that, where you kind of ruin I think when people shake the hands in the ring after the match, they kind of spoil the thing of it, because it's like, well, why are you upset that you've just lost? Why are you happy? Why are you hugging each other? Because it's just beat. Like, I've seen it before. The most bizarre one is in hardcore matches when you've just battered the living hell out of each other with sticks and pins and all that, and then they give each other a hug and a thanks, cheers. In the real world, in a street fight or something like that, you ain't gonna do that. You ain't gonna give it cheers for kicking living hell out of me and hitting me with a kendo stick or whatever you call it. Thanks for that. It ain't gonna happen. People need to stop doing it. And I call people out of it on comms, and I make them look stupid when they do it. Because they'll do it, they'll shake each other's hands, and I'll go, oh yeah, cheers for that. You've just like battered me half to death, but I'm gonna give you an handshake. And then Brett will normally say, when I'm sat next to him, he'll probably say, oh, it's a sign of respect. When no, there's no respect. They've just beaten each other to death. That's not respect.
I think it's respect within like that world, though, isn't it? It's like when you go to the ring and you wipe your feet. It's like you're showing a sign of respect, you know, of like wiping your feet on the apron before you get in. Like it's respect in the ring. I think it's more the respect thing, but I think it's more just to keep the faces as faces.
Yeah.
But I've not been in that position. So if I lose, I usually hit them with the title.
What would you do if, like, you was that somebody put their arm out to you to shake your hand after the match?
Well, I mean, what my character?
Oh, well, your character as a heel wouldn't do that anyway.
Yeah, my character wouldn't do it as a heel at all. Leonie tried it, didn't she? Like when I won the title off her, she tried to put her hand to like shake it, and then I just hit her with the belt. Because I'm like, no, hon, I've got what I wanted. But I think as a face, it's just I think you only have a short period of time to tell a story, because sometimes people that come to like the pay-per-views, for example, that might be the first time they've watched that show. So like you're trying to tell a story within wrestling of like, you know, establishing who's the good guy and who's the bad guy. And I think when it's two faces, it's really hard for like the audience to get back behind one another, because it's like whoever wins, it doesn't really matter because they're both goodies. But it's like with heels, isn't it? It's like, well, you've got a heel versus a heel. Who are you supposed to back? Because they're both hated by the audience. And I think when I was fighting Kirsty, before I found out that she was a face, I genuinely thought she was going to be a heel. And to make her look stronger, my mindset was going to be that I was going to be a heel that's a little bit on the verge of a face in that match. But then when I found out she was coming back as a face, it made my job easier, because then I could just be like an arsehole.
What would you do, Kourtney? Would you shake hand?
Answer this very carefully, Kourtney. I'm joking.
I don't know. Like, it just depends who it is. If I don't like the person who I'm wrestling, I'm not gonna shake their hand.
Sorry.
What's your kind of like? How would you describe your character, Kourtney, and like where do you want your character to go?
She's a little bit dopey, a bit like me. And yeah, a little bit flirtatious, a little bit like me as well. Don't judge.
As long as you're not flirting with Gary.
No, he's out of my league. No offense. But yeah, I don't know. I know I want to be face though.
Do you think I know? You know, when you were saying about like heels and faces wrestling, do you think this should?
I think it just depends on the storyline. It has to make sense. Sometimes you'll have a match and it doesn't. Sometimes it might not really make sense. You know, if it's just like you're randomly fighting that person, but then that helps you develop as a wrestler, because if you're not used to fighting that person, it really helps you kind of change your style. Like, I used to get really nervous about fighting the guys, but then when I started fighting like Tom and Horace, I really enjoyed it, because I could not only add a little bit more of my style into it that I can't necessarily do with the other girls because of like how tall I am, but it also like really did show like a different dynamic. And yeah, it does further add depth to your character depending on who you wrestle. I don't see anything wrong with having a heel versus a heel or a face versus a face, but I think when it's the face versus the face, it's harder to kind of get excited because whoever wins, it doesn't really matter because like you like them both. I think when it's a heel and a heel, it's a bit more tricky then because it's like you're not really bothered about who wins because you don't like any of them, but you've got more of a choice then as to who you would rather win. And if you're picking a certain heel that you would rather win over that other heel, then that shows that that heel that you don't want to win is doing really well because you don't like them regardless as to who they're fighting. So, yeah, I don't think that there's anything wrong in having that booking of a heel versus a heel or a face versus a face. I just think it needs to make sense.
Yeah.
You know? But there's always like a reason. Like when you look at like Ruby and Nisa, they were like having matches with each other, even though they were like kind of on the same team and they were showing this kind of respect, but it was building up to them finally, you know, one of them having enough and being like, nah, screw this, like I'm done with you. And then that adds more like excitement because you've had all that build up, you know.
Yeah. We've got another question. As a heel, how do you deal with family promotions versus the more 18 plus promotions? Is there any near misses with that? No, not really, because I think it's easier for us because our promotion that we tend to work with is family friendly. So we tend to.
I struggle sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot easier when it is the 18 plus promotions because you can just let go. You can swear, you can tell people stuff, and it is a little bit hard sometimes when you get too much into the character. You've kind of got to look around when there's like under 18s going, "You suck," and "You're crap," and especially when I've heard some under 18s at the show, even though it's a family friendly show, not the wrestlers, but the crowd actually swearing at us, and for us to be really professional and to remember not to turn around, and it is difficult. It's you've just got to get into that mindset, and I think it just keeps reminding you because, especially at the under 18 promotions, that normally the young people and the children and stuff, they're the loudest there, they're the biggest ones there. So that is a kind of reminder, there's a lot of kids there. We are at a under 18 promotion. But I find it good because in my normal day-to-day life, I don't swear that much anyway. I don't use swear words and stuff. And because of my day job as well, because I'm a youth worker, so I'm constantly working with young people anyway, so it is quite easy for me to turn off. But as soon as that 18 plus promotion comes out, I love doing them more than I would say a family friendly one because you can just let loose. That's me.
I haven't done an 18 plus show, but I think if I did, wow, those dads in the audience wouldn't be safe with me. Not around.
I dread to think.
No, when sometimes when some people say you suck, especially like the adults, sometimes forget, and I'll say like something back, and I'll be like, I think it was Evan, when Evan was like, you suck, and I just looked at him and I was like, shh, don't tell anybody. And then in my head, I was like, wait, Drew, this is a family show.
Yeah, actually, thinking of that, I have done that before by accident when somebody's gone, you suck, and I've gone, yes, I know I do.
Yeah, like some people, when I first started, they used to like, I think it was in my debut match, someone said, you suck, and I said, well, you could at least say, well. Like, you know? So like, yeah, I would enjoy doing an 18 plus show because I think you could then have a little bit more fun with it. But yeah, I think the dads in the audience definitely wouldn't be safe.
What about you, Kourtney?
Same as Drew, to be honest. Because like every time someone says to me, "Oh, you suck" or whatever, I'm like, "Yeah, and you swallow," and stuff like that.
Kourtney, I've never heard you say that.
It automatically comes into your head, doesn't it? It just automatically comes into your head, doesn't it? When the shouting stuff, it's like, I really want to say that, but I can't. I know I can't. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Or like when someone says "fuck you" and I'll say "no, thank you."
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never heard anyone swear before.
Have you not?
No, not like that. I think for me, like, I like my character to be a little bit cheeky. So, like when people say it, I quite like that. But I think secretly, like I try and come up with like something funny to say because I want my character to be like the character you hate but you secretly love.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like the guilty pleasure, like, oh god, I can't stand her, but secretly you actually really like him. That's how I want my character to come across. So yeah, it can be quite funny when you get to be a bit cheeky. But I've never heard anyone swear. Like maybe I'm just
heard them loads of times, especially when you guys are being out in ring as well. I think it's easier for me on comms because especially when you're doing promos and stuff like that, we do tend to try and listen more to the audience so we could commentate on the responses that you're getting from your promos type of thing. So we do hear a lot. I mean, the main ones are the firing squad that get a lot of swearing thrown at them at UK Wrestling. I have heard it a lot with them. But yeah, I think we need to do an 18 show, another 18 show.
Think of the outfit.
Or lack of.
Coming out doing a stable.
Yeah.
Two handprints. Love it.
Or think of dads, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh dad. I'm joking. No, I've got my Gary. I've got Gary. Which started as an accident. Because he was counting me out and I was like, oh Gary, you're so cute when you say that. And then that just set it off then.
Yeah. I think as well, and this is for a person in the chat as well. They will know who I'm on about because I go on about it all the time. The best things in wrestling happen by accident, I think. And when that thing happens, you need to stick to it. Yeah. Do you know where I'm going with that? I know who I'm aiming that at.
I don't know.
They're in the chat. I hope they've picked up on it. They will have done. I hope so.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you've got it. Bless him.
How long are we on it for? Like, how long does this chat go on for?
I don't know. We could. I'm getting into a groove now. I can. Yeah.
We've been on here an hour. I'm like, is this like? Are we about to come to an end?
I'm just saying controversial stuff. That probably.
I think that's the beauty of wrestling is it's like entertainment, and you can have so much fun with it, and have different storylines. It's like. It's just, yeah, that's why I love it because you just don't know what's going to happen. Like, and when people, I've had people be like, oh, do you know what's going to happen at like the next pay-per-view? And I'm like, no, because we generally don't get told until the day, unless, like, for me, I don't know what's going to happen at the next pay-per-view, but obviously I know what I'm going to be doing, you know, at some of the like Friday night shows because I'm having to do promos because of the situation I'm in. But if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't know what I was doing until the day. And sometimes you'll get there and you'll be thinking that you're going to fight someone and then it completely gets changed, you know, and that's the beauty of it. That's definitely helped me though, because I'm someone that very much likes to plan and I like to like know what I'm doing. Sometimes I can get a little bit like, oh, what am I doing? Like the plans have changed. Oh my God, you know, it can like kind of get to me a little bit, but
It's exactly the same.
Out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, no, it's exactly the same for us on comms. It's like people think we've got the full list and stuff like that. We really haven't. We don't know who's going to win, especially pay-per-views and stuff like that. We generally don't know. It's not written down anywhere. Sometimes we don't even know who's coming out. Sometimes we have to guess by the music who's coming out. That's why sometimes if you look back at some of the pay-per-views, you'll hear me say and like entering the ring first, and then I will pause because I'm actually listening to the music and trying to remember whose music that belongs to, so I can announce them. Or you'll see that I'm waiting for them to come out. And sometimes I've known it happen where, especially on pay-per-views and stuff, and like for people that have got the belts and stuff, they don't even know who's finishing, who's winning, or what. They basically get told in the ring, like halfway through the match. Or
I've known places like that before.
Yeah, or because I think that's because the promoter wants it to be so natural, the reaction to be natural, and it to be, you know what I mean, to be more realistic and stuff. And I've known people, people thinking they're losing, but everybody else knows they're winning. They're the only person and winning belts and stuff. And it is the pure shock of it. It's good. It's good TV.
Yeah, getting that natural, organic reaction, it definitely does help. I've seen it a few times, even within UKW. Are we allowed to say, like, I mean, like Nisa, for example, when, you know, the Genesis Championship, everyone knew but her. And it's like, I remember when I did the 3 count, because this is when I was the referee, when I did the 3 count. And she was like, oh my God, did I do something wrong? And I was like, no, go in, celebrate. And seeing that natural reaction, it's like really cool to watch.
It is. It's a buzz. It is a buzz.
Yeah. The beauty of wrestling.
Oh, another question. If you could have cut any promo in the history of wrestling, which one would you choose? I'm going to be honest, as I always am. I'm going to leave this one to the 2 girls because I don't watch much wrestling.
I've got 2.
Go on, Kourtney.
Have you got one, Kourtney?
No.
No, okay.
I mean, there's like a few that stand out to me. The CM Punk promo, that stands out to me because I feel like that kind of catapulted him up a level, because he did that whole pipe bomb and just said it how it was. And then majority of the time that would kind of, you know, completely end you. But it like changed him overnight and made him even bigger than what he was. And fans saw a different aspect. That would be cool to cut that promo. Or same with like the AJ Lee promo when she kind of went at the Total Divas. But there's a few promos that I've actually copied and no one's caught on yet. Like some of the things that I've done, I've snuck it into like my promos. Where there was the promo that was between me and you, Kourtney, where I was trying to get you to apologise to me, and then Nisa came out. And when Nisa said something, I then went, back up, who do you think you're talking to? And that line, I actually got off Trish Stratus when it was her versus Christy Hemme. And Christy was like challenging Trish for like the championship, and then Trish was like, back up a second. So like there's things that I've snuck into my promos from other wrestlers, or like I've said some sayings that like are from TV shows, like when me and Ruby was in commentary, and it was me, Ruby, and Dylan Chase on commentary with James and Carla, and I did the Monica, you know, Monica from Friends, where she goes, I know. Yeah, there's not. I think like this CM Punk one would be fun to drop, or the AJ Lee one.
Yeah.
What about you? Have you got any that stand out?
I don't know, because I like watching All Elite Wrestling more than WWE. Don't come at me. Alright, they're just
No, no. I mean, look at Mariah May and Tony Storm, like their feud was iconic.
Yeah, like them two are really good. But I like the promo with Daniel Garcia and MJF.
What was that promo?
It was like MJF tried to end Daniel Garcia's career, and he suffered from a broken neck.
Oh, wow.
I think I can't remember, but yeah, Daniel Garcia came back and he was shouting at MJF, saying, Maxwell, like, me ruining your life is your fetish and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh my God. There's a lot more, but I can't remember it all. I have a
It's
brain
cool when
of
the promo can really, like, get to you and stuff. I like promos.
I like all of Soraya's though, and Paige from the WWE and that lot.
Hopefully she comes back to Evolution.
Hopefully.
Well, Nikki Bella's coming back on Monday.
Is she?
Yeah, she's coming back on Monday to Raw.
Ooh.
So that'll be building up to Evolution.
Probably. Oh, hopefully, anyway.
Hopefully, fingers crossed. I just hopefully it comes back. Please, Leah, please come back. Oh, everyone's gone really quiet. What's going on?
Hello? It's James, he ain't talking.
For your character's cat face, why do you use it, and why, if so, is there a meaning to it?
I don't get that.
We need a bit of more on that, Ryden.
For your character's cat face, why do you use it and why? If so, is there a meaning to it? What does cat face mean?
Don't know.
I don't know what it means there. We're waiting in anticipation.
You're on the edge of, I'm on the edge of my seat, waiting for Ryden to respond. Yeah, I don't understand.
Oh my
Come on, Ryden.
Well, so waiting though, what's your favourite film? I know it's random, but
Okay, Instagram post. What's your favourite film? God, that's a hard one.
Misery.
Ah, that is a good film.
To be fair, I like all Stephen King stuff.
yeah.
Sorry, like I will strike you down or get on my level. Catchphrase.
Oh, catchphrase.
Catchphrase.
Ah, right. Okay.
No,
Well, mine was iconic, like, wasn't it? So, like, I use the word iconic a lot because originally my character was going to be called Ashlyn Icon. That was going to be my wrestling name. But because I was refereeing under the name Drew, and then Chris Castle announced the match at WrestleBration, which was going to be Nisa and Ruby versus Anna, and then he said Drew. Then I was like, oh no, he's announced me as Drew. So then I messaged Jonathan and was like, look, like, can I call myself Drew Ashlyn? So then eventually over time, I can then call myself Ashlyn Icon, because that was originally going to be my new name. Because obviously I used to be called Harley Ryder. and then I wanted to kind of separate that, and then I just kind of stuck to Drew Ashlyn. Like I like it, so it's like Drew Ashlyn, the self-proclaimed icon. And the reason why I just say that is because I just think it's really obnoxious to call yourself iconic. So yeah, that's my catchphrase, I guess.
I think mine's my name as well, Just James. It's a bit like all you need is just a little Just James. So every time anybody says like, "Oh, we need X, Y, and Z," you say, "No, you just need Just James."
I love it. What about you, Kourtney? Have you got any catchphrases that you're going to think about, or?
I've been thinking about like little sassy ones. You know, like this is gonna sound really cringy now, but like, you know what Soraya says, like, I forgot who she was talking to, but she was like, I forgot. I think it was with AJ Lee, and she was like, you know, you lost the title, baby girl, so what? Like something. So I think like baby girl might be it. I don't know.
Okay.
Like, I can use it in a sassy tone or like in a good tone. But I
I
don't know.
suppose you've got like some time now really to think about your character, haven't you? Because obviously it was a case of you're the manager, and I think now it's like this gives you an opportunity now to really kind of like round out your character as like an individual for when you decide to debut. Because I mean, I don't know, when I've been told that I can start running and then getting back to kind of, you know, my like activities after like around 3 months. But that doesn't necessarily mean I'll be back at wrestling in 3 months. I could come back in wrestling in maybe like 5 to 6 months. Like it just depends on how my body is and how I'm healing. So I suppose this gives you like an opportunity to really round your character out now, really, and get you, because you don't want to be waiting for me. Like you want to get yourself out there. So if I was in your position, I would really kind of figure out who Kourtney is and, you know, push and push and push.
Because I mean, every time you come out now, I don't know if it's a catchphrase or something, but when we kind of announce you and, you know, and accompanying Drew Ashley, it's Kourtney with a K. It's always Kourtney with a K. So I don't know if you could come out like a little bit, like you said, cutesy and go, Kourtney with a K.
Yeah, I could do.
Yeah.
I suppose with the bows and stuff, that gives you that kind of cutesy vibe, doesn't it? You know, but your gear's really cool. You've got really cool image. I think, you know, with your style, I know you're, as a manager, she's trying to like be influenced by Drew, but I definitely think you've got your own style, like as an individual as well, like with your gear. And it's a lot different to what I wear. I don't really wear shorts. I prefer wearing like the baggy pants or like the full, you know, rhinestones bodysuit. That's just me. I mean, yeah, I wore shorts the day of Reckoning, but other than that, I just feel more comfortable in that style. So yeah, I think this is a really good opportunity for you to really kind of round out who Kourtney is, because it could end up being that they might be like, look, Drew's not going to be back in 6 months' time, but you know, we want to give you a push. So yeah. I would really kind of figure out who you want to be as a character, because everything happens for a reason, and you never know. You might get told like next week you're debuting. You just never know what's going to happen. So yeah.
Yeah, because that stuff happens all the time where you're just. That's why I think you should always have your gear on you just in case and stuff like that, because you never know when the promoter's going to go, right, you ready, or your trainer's going to go, right, I think you're ready, get on the show, do it.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I remember that when I was doing ring announcing at Sovereign Nation, Nita was supposed to have a match against someone and the person couldn't make it. And then Johnny Storm was like, why don't you wrestle her? And I was like, oh, no, I'm not ready. And I was like, well, I don't have my gear anyway. And he was like, you should always have your gear because you never know. But personally, I didn't feel comfortable wrestling. So, like, they ended up getting someone else to wrestle her. But you don't know when it's going to happen. Like, I think with me, they had me debut because they needed someone to team up with Anna for the tag belt, you know, and I was like, I guess the perfect person at the time, but I didn't feel ready within myself. And it was only when I got out there that I knew that I had to prove myself, because I didn't believe in myself. But then I have these other people that believe in me. So now it was my opportunity to like really like be like, okay, I don't believe in myself, but I don't want the audience to know that. So I'm just going to give it my all. And I think it's different when you're in a tag match because you've got less time to get your character over, which is why I'm very vocal, regardless as to where I am, because it's reminding the audience, oh, I'm here, I'm still here. And I didn't want my character to kind of fade in the back on my debut. So when Anna was doing a move, I was like, oh my God, well done, Anna. That was the best clothesline ever. It's just so that the audience could understand that I'm so deluded to thinking that a clothesline is like the most spectacular move in the world, you know, and it's like, is she for real? Do you know what I mean? This girl who was a referee who's seen all these spectacular moves and she's cheering someone on for doing a clothesline, and it just makes you hate her even more. So yeah, I definitely think this is your time now to really push yourself and just get yourself out there, because I really want to see you on the show fighting away. Because I know when I'm going to come back, you know, and that's the reality.
Definitely. I've got another question. If you was to have face paint or a mask character, how and what design would you come up with? I've got mine. I'll show you. Let's see.
Oh, I love that.
I think that was from Hallowed Ground last year.
Yeah, I remember that, man. That's
I don't know whose it is, but I took it and I put it on, and I just felt right at home in it. I thought that sums my character up.
I like it. What about you, Kourtney?
I like Thunder Rosa from AEW.
Yeah.
I like hers, like how she has one side painted, but I'd add like gems like around instead. But
Nice.
See, talking to gems, I'd hate to see Drew's rhinestone budget.
Oh my God, I got back to the rhinestones. But I get them in bulk, so I just buy them on Amazon and get them in bulk, and you know, they're not actually that expensive. But yeah, I have a lot. I don't know what I would do. I would either do, if I did a mask, I'd want it to be quite punky and stuff, or like, but I think for me, it wouldn't necessarily be the face paint, but I think if I could change it, I would go down the whole Rhea Ripley route of being a bit more kind of gothy with the makeup, like the black lipstick, that it would be like black glitter and just very kind of like crazy eye makeup and stuff like that. I'd kind of go down that route. I'd be opposite. Thing is, I get really bored. So like at some point, I will eventually, you know, start to change how I am. I mean, you can see that in my gear, because when I first started, it was all about the full bodysuit. And now it's like I wear the baggy pants and the bodysuit. It's a bit more like punky now. But yeah, I get bored, so I'm always changing. You never know, I might come out with a mask. A mask of my face. Could you imagine? It's like my face, and then I just take it off, and it's still my face.
That'd be quite good. That could work. That.
Like her own Tuesday.
That'd be good. I think talking about masks and stuff, I think Ufa for me was for storytelling wise, it was a very, very long story that was executed very, very well. Like I think it must have 3 years worth of story, like Ufa and the Dylan Chase thing, like Ufa, like being Ufa, but then Dylan Chase, now we know, was Ufa, and that happened for 3 years. But Dylan Chase was in the background and he was learning everybody. He was doing the presenting and the promoting and the commentating and the ring announcing, but all along he was Ufa and he was learning about things. I think that for me was a really good, like, masked storyline to go on for 3 years as well. That was really good.
100%, because you're learning the psychology of the wrestlers that you're facing as a, presenter. Yeah, it was really well executed. And I was really surprised, like, when it happened, because, like, so many people, obviously, they wasn't expecting it. And I remember when it happened, even I was like, I can't believe it's actually happening now. Like, that's crazy. And I've only known, obviously, Dylan for, well, when did I do? I debuted last July. It'll be 2 years this year. It'll be 2 years in July since I've been there, but like seeing it, yeah. And even the evolution of the mask, because when he obviously, got injured and then came back and then had the like dragon mask. It's like,
yeah, because that was when he was part of the Brotherhood, wasn't it? When he had the was it? No, because I think it started off as the was it the Plague Doctor kind of mask in the Brotherhood?
I think that I don't think I saw that mask.
No, it was kind of that, and he kind of had the wings, and I think that's where the crow kind of came from. And then, like you said, the progress of the different masks that he wore and stuff, that was quite good. But he's in the chat. He just put ha.
Yeah, it was very well executed. And again, that's like a development of a storyline. Like nothing happens overnight, and it's like some people might get frustrated, but it's like there's always a reasoning to it. Like it's like, yeah, for a title, for example, you might not get it for a long time, but there is a reason why, and it's about building up to that and that story. And yeah, it is cool when you get to see how the storyline changes over time and how the characters change as well.
It is. I think when you're saying that as well, I think a lot of wrestlers that are into long-term stories and stuff like that are in it more for the story.
Yeah.
Just not that moment, that show, understand that. But then I think some of them are like, oh, I want a storyline. Okay, we'll give you one. All right, why haven't we stopped it yet? Because you only asked for it last week. Why are we concluding it this week? Kind of thing. So, and I think that's the difference between a wrestler that just wants to go and do shows and a wrestler that wants to be a pro wrestler and wants to tell the story, kind of thing. That's my opinion. And I think I'm more for the wrestlers that want the story, that want to do the stories and the long-term stories, because for me, that's how I get engaged in it, because I'm not, as everybody knows, I'm not the biggest wrestling fan. I'm not like crazy on it and I'll sit there and watch it and or watch a pay-per-view on TV twice, not naming any names, Drew. And then start questioning us about it, like, oh, we're naughty school kids, we haven't watched it.
Naughty.
But yeah, it's for me, it's more the storyline, and that's what engages me, because it's like I get hooked on the story. It's not or I can do 10 flippy dippy moves or off the top rope and stuff. Yeah, that's wow. Yeah, that's really good. Like you can do that.
But there needs to be a reasoning behind it.
Yeah, for that minute, it's absolutely amazing. But it's gone now. I've forgotten about you, but I haven't forgotten about Joe Blogs that said they were going to come after so and so, and they've got a whole story because I want to see that concluded. I want to see what happens with her. I know you can do a flippy dippy move because I saw you do that last week. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of people will disagree, but that's my opinion. As I always try and when people ask me, "Oh, did I do good?" and stuff like that, I try and give them feedback from. And I always tell them I'm not an expert. I don't know if your moves were good or not. But if you want my opinion, I'm going to try and give you my opinion as a fan, what I would want to see as a fan, not what I want to see as JustJames or on the show. I'm going to tell you what I would want to see as a fan. And you doing the same flippy dippy move off the top rope every week after week after week after week, I'm going to get bored of that. I don't want to see that.
I think as well, like a lot of people want to put so many moves into it.
Yeah.
And actually, like sometimes you don't need that. Like sometimes you only need like 1 or 2 moves in there, but it's about how you got to them.
Yeah,
And
it's a soap opera, isn't it? It's a soap opera that a story that you're trying to tell by fighting.
Yeah, like, I remember my match with Leonie at Restoration Aftermath and how I was focusing on her leg and stuff. And it's like a lot of the moves that I did in that match I've not done before, but it was done because it added more depth to I'm really attacking her leg. But then that built up to then the end of the match when I came back out with the chair. And it's like, you know, you're showing the audience like I'm attacking her leg here, I'm doing that there, but then the final conclusion is I'm breaking her leg. And it's like that hatred towards me then makes people invest the time in Leonie in wanting to kick my butt. So when then it got to Retribution and she finally got that, you know, time where she could come back and really nail, like whack me in that. It's like you invest in it because it's been built up for you to get behind this person and to go against that person. And then even then it's like the fans are frustrated because then I just decided to end the match by disqualifying myself. And then it's like, oh my God, I can't believe she just did that. What a bitch, you know? And then that then builds up to January when we had that Iron Woman match. And it's like, everything happens for a reason. And it's like, she finally got the title off me. And
can I just point out that you just spelt that naughty word like you're not supposed to say it, but like half an hour ago we were discussing all of
I
that.
know. I know, sorry, bitch. big bitch. But like, when it finally got to that and she finally won, it's like all that built up tension between us both paid off, and it just the reaction from the crowd, it's like, yeah, and that's what you want, and that's why I like a storyline, because you know, you just don't know what's going to happen next. And
it's good for the promoters as well, because that's what people are coming for. They're coming back time after time because they're wanting to see what happens. They want to be there.
Yeah.
They want to be in it. They want to be involved, and them being involved is them being there at ringside watching it. And I think you forget as well, Drew, that you kind of, for me as a fan, looking at your character and stuff, you have multiple storylines that I don't even think you realize you have. It's like you've got the storyline with the referee. It's like, are they, will they, what's going on there, what's happening? You've got the storyline with Kourtney. What's she doing with her? Why is she trying to brainwash her and all that kind of stuff? You've got the storyline where you go crazy sometimes. I mean, that's the good one for me. I like.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Like, I feel like that added a completely different layer to me, and that really then made me like, oh, I love storylines, because I didn't even expect my character to be like that. And then when they said, oh no, each week you're gonna get worse and worse and worse, which is why I was like, oh well, if I'm in a depressive day, I wouldn't change my clothes. So that's why I came out in the same gear, and then the makeup got worse. And it's like, even I remember, who was it now? Was it not George Hunter? Anderson. He used to be called George Anderson, didn't he? But Anderson. Yeah, I remember he came up to me and he was like, "Oh, I can't wait to see what's going to happen next with this. I'm loving it." And it's like, when you have people say that, it's like, but yeah, I've got loads. I've got, obviously, the continuation of Leonie when that happens. The whole messing up with Nisa and trying to make her life hell. I've got the becoming buddies with Ruby. I've got Kourtney being brainwashed by me. And then obviously like the flirtation with Gary. So that's like, what, five storylines in one?
So we got another question. It must be frustrating as a wrestler if you have a finisher and the folk in the previous match hits every move, including yours. No protection of Pia's character causes me to disconnect. No, I get that. We've recently put things in measure to prevent that. So, especially at the big shows and the pay-per-views and stuff like that. I think that goes down to communication as well, down in the locker room. People just need to communicate and just go, is anybody doing this? What's that? Blah, 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 kind of thing. And that's where the discussions come. I think it's more of a promoter thing, that as well. I think the promoters need to be like sitting down with everyone and going, right, let's discuss what's happening. Are you doing that? Okay. What were your plan? Were you planning on doing that? Well, tough, now they're doing it. So you need to come up with something new, kind of thing. And I think the system that we've recently put in place is where everybody writes down their finishers and stuff. So then they can see, oh, well, Drew's put down that she's doing that finisher and I wanted to do that. Let me go speak to Drew. Drew, have you got another finisher that you can use? Because I haven't only got this one. Well, if you've only got that finisher, I'll change my finisher for you, kind of thing. That's what it's about. It's just about communicating.
And as well, when you say obviously the Swanton bomb, which that's done now. That is not my move. We did it, we enjoyed it, and then we got concluded that it's not me. But like Sigma, for example, he does the Swanton bomb. So like when we spoke together, he was like, "Oh, I'm not doing it on the pay-per-view, but like, are you going to use it as a finisher and is someone going to kick out?" Because then it makes that finisher look weak to that other person. So it's like about kind of like keeping the integrity of that person's finisher. So like with me, I was like, "Oh no one's going to kick out from that. I'm going to win by that." And it's again about the communication. I think at the last pay-per-view that I was on, that board downstairs really did help, because me and Kirsty had like a thing planned where she was going to go for, what was she going to do now? I think she was going to go for a suplex, and then I was going to do a sunset flip into a power bomb. But then we found out someone else was doing a power bomb, so we scrapped it. And again, it's like the communication level. It does definitely help.
Yeah, it does, and it's just for the show, folks, because nobody wants to see everybody doing the same moves because it becomes the same match. On that as well, what really annoys me, because I can take a step back because I'm not a wrestler, but I hear it all the time, and I'm in the locker room and stuff like that, and I'm good at pretending not to be somewhere when I'm actually listening and stuff. In the background, in the shadows, is when people kind of go, well, you can't use that move because that's my move, or you can't do this one because it's mine. Well, it's not. You didn't invent it, because I bet you've taken it off another wrestler that you've seen doing it, and they've taken it off another wrestler that they've seen doing it. So it's like you don't own that move. So what gives you the right to go up to another professional wrestler or one of your peers and go, well, you shouldn't be doing that because I do that move, that's mine. You don't have the right to do that because it's not your move. You might have given it another name. That really annoys me as well, when people change the names of moves and make their own names up. Because as well, like with me not being that much into wrestling, I know the moves by like the normal names, like the suplex and the tombstone and stuff like that, the original names and stuff. But then when people change the names to their own characters, styles, it's really annoying because I'm like, I can't remember all that. But yeah, do you know what I mean by when somebody comes up to you and goes, "Oh well, that's my move that you do. You shouldn't be doing that move in the match. That's well, it's not your move. It's a wrestling move, and you're all wrestlers, kind of thing." And I think people need to like stop saying that because it's really annoying. I don't know how you feel about that, Courtney.
I agree. Like sometimes, well, most of the time, like it does get annoying because it isn't just their move. Like they copied it from another wrestler, and they are saying that like it's their move, even though it isn't.
It is. It's because it's like, yeah. It's if you had to go on that prospect that you can't do a wrestling move because somebody else does that move, you wouldn't have any moves.
Yeah, God, I'd have none.
Exactly, you know what I mean? And it's like, I think it does come from a lot. I think a lot of the wrestlers that think they're a little bit better than other wrestlers and stuff like that, because I call it the wrestling ego. And I mean, there's some people that get it, that believe their own hype, they believe their own character and stuff, and I think they forget that they are actors in a show. They're there for entertainment. It's not real kind of thing, and they get too hung up on it. Because I've had it loads of times where we've finished the show, we've just been talking after, and people have come up to me and gone, "Oh, well, that was really nasty what you said, blah, blah, blah." And we're like, what did I say? Well, when you was on, well, that's just James, that's not me. That's a character. And you know what I mean? No, it's the show's over and done with now. So, you know, you're a wrestler. Why are you coming up to me and going, "Oh, blah, 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 blah"? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I think sometimes they get lost into it as well. I can't explain it, but yeah, it annoys me.
Yeah, I mean, God, half my moves like other people do. Like suplex, everyone does a suplex. But I think it's about just trying to make it your own. Like, I obviously am very influenced by Lita and Jeff. So, like, my finisher is the twist of fate, and then it used to be the swanton bomb. But that's done now. But there's so many, like, influences. But for me, my main concern when it comes to wrestling is I just want to make sure that I have a good time, that the other person is safe, and then, you know, I really enjoyed the match and people were entertained. That's the only thing I look into. And then if people can tell me how I can improve or what I might be lacking on, again, that's just information that I can use to better myself, because I am far from, you know, where I want to be within wrestling. I would love to be like better than I am. You know, I'm still, in my head, I'm still very new to it. Yes, I've been in it for almost a year now on the shows, but I'm still very much learning as to who the character is and kind of my moveset. And it's like every couple of weeks I might introduce something new, because I've like trained and done something new, but also it's like you're kind of figuring out your character. And for me, when I come back and make my comeback, I already know deep down that my style is going to be very different, and kind of I'm still going to do certain moves that I did before, but I want to change it to kind of accommodate who Drew is as a character, to like using my legs a little bit more because that's my advantage, I'm tall, you know, and not feel like I need to emulate the wrestlers that I love, because I don't. Like, yes, I'd still love to be able to do the moonsault, but I think I'm in a mindset now where it's like, even if you don't do the moonsault, it doesn't matter. It doesn't make you like an amazing wrestler or not. And I think it's like I wanted to do all these flashy moves to kind of impress people, but you can impress people in different ways, whether that's through like the character's personality and your like ring presence. So as much as being injured has obviously stopped me from doing what I love, it's actually made me think, oh, do you know what? This is now my time to really reflect and to better my craft and not try and emulate Leah or Jeff Hardy or whoever. Actually start to kind of think, oh, what would Drew do? Do you know what I mean? Sorry for battling on.
What do you think the future of wrestling looks like at end of this year? Like for you two, what do you think? What are your goals and your achievements?
My goal is to, I don't know, to venture to other promotions. You know, so like Newcastle, Progress, and the one in
And
Glasgow.
actually, Davey is a wrestler at UKW. I'm assuming would be a goal as well.
Yeah.
Having your first match at UK Wrestling, I'm excited to see that.
Same.
Yeah. I just want to know when it'll be, but no one's telling me nothing.
No, I don't. I don't think it's that they're not telling. Yeah, I think they're waiting until they kind of think you're ready, kind of thing. And like, I think it's all down to the promoter, kind of what their opinion is. Because I know they watch all the time, even though we don't think they're watching. They watch all the time. And it's just that keep coming, keep grafting, keep at it, and it will happen.
Yeah, I think it's like, again, sometimes you don't think that they're watching in training, but it's like they're watching everything in training because they're wanting to know if you can do really well in training and then you're going to do really well on the shows. Like, and I remember when Jonathan had told me that I was going to debut at WrestleBration, and I remember I had a match and it was me and Dylan in a training match, and he got the girls to come up from downstairs to watch that training match, and I knew that was because he wanted to show them that, you know, do you think she's ready? Because this is my plan, but he didn't tell anybody, and no one knew for a while, like, to keep it hush hush. And it's because, like, if you're doing really well in training, that gives them the reassurance that you're going to be fine out in a crowd, because it is a completely different thing. Like, if you mess up in training, you haven't got an audience there to, like, you know, see. Whereas if you mess up in a match, it's how do you cope with doing that? And like, there's things where I've done where I've like maybe forgotten something or whatever, but it's how you can cope under pressure because you're in front of a live audience. You can't be like, oh, I forgot the next thing, because then it takes you out of the fantasy of wrestling.
But I think as well to put on for Kourtney as well, that it's, yeah, I think me personally, I think you're nearly there and stuff, because they wouldn't put you on the shows. You've already got that aspect behind you that they trust you on the shows. You've been put on the shows, because there's some people at training that where they won't even put them on a show in any capacity whatsoever. So you've already got that thing, and you're doing little bits and stuff like now. And as we've spoken about before, it's about the long-term storytelling, and you are telling a story. And I think a lot of wrestlers that we know there, if you look at them, that you might think, oh, they're new, they haven't been doing it as long as me, and they're on shows already. They're the ones, they haven't got them big long storylines. They've kind of just been put on. There you go wrestle, and we'll work it out where you've got that benefit where you are training, but you're on the shows, and you've got that long-term story.
Yeah.
Then people are going to get more behind, because they know you now. They know you as a wrestler, as Kourtney, the wrestler, and they know you, and they're going to, as soon as your card comes out, and that promotion card, that's going to be a draw for people, because they're going to be like, well, we're going to see what she's actually like now.
Yeah, it's like that build up. Like they've seen you on the show, you've established as to who you are, and it's about adding them layers. And it's like yeah, you might not be having a match yet, but it's like that's your answer there. Yeah, like it's gonna happen. You are gonna have a match. It's just you're building up to something, so that first match means something. And it's like the development within our storyline. I'm in a position where I'm like manipulating you and brainwashing you. And it's like, it's helping both people then because it's helping you. But when you eventually, well, we can't say, but what you do. And it's helping me, making me look even more of an arsehole. And then it's like, I can't believe she's actually doing that to Kourtney. And then Kourtney's being vulnerable in believing her and she can't see it. It's like you've got rose tinted glasses on, you can't see what I'm doing. So it's like, I know it can be frustrating, but how I would see it is you're on the shows and you're just adding more and more layers to your character. So when you do eventually wrestle, it'll be the best thing,
It is. It's true because I've seen it before, can't you? Where some wrestlers have had the long stories and they've tried working with them, and I get the frustration that you wanting to get on the shows and stuff like that, and I can only believe that it's frustrating. But then some people give up, and then they'll move on, and they'll go away, and it's like, well, we've done all that work, all that build up. And you don't see him anymore.
Yeah.
There's a few like that you know of yourself that you don't see them, but they had that big push, that big draw and stuff like that. I'm not naming any names on here, but I'll text you. But
I think with a referee, like when I got asked to be a referee at first, I was like, oh, like that's not what I imagined. But it was like, well, I'm going to use this to my advantage because then it gets me on the TV shows to then get people introduced to who I am as opposed to just like I'm just training. And then it also got me like the development of understanding matches and understanding what it's like to be in front of a crowd and how the matches work. And so like I try to use every opportunity to like really help myself. And then it's like I still wanted to show me, and I would have people being like, "You need to tie up your hair as the referee because we're focusing on your hair when you're touching it." And it's like, well, this is me. Like, I'm not going to put my hair up. If you've told me I need to put my hair up, it's going to make me not want to do it even more.
and then just imagine as well when I'm announcing, and like for some of them, I'm making their debut to the ring, Joe Bloggs, and everybody's like, who's Joe Bloggs? We don't know Joe Bloggs. But then making a wrestling debut, Kourtney with a kit, everybody knows you, and the pull on that is going to be really good. I know it's frustrating, but trust the process.
Yeah.
Trust the process.
Every opportunity you get, don't think, oh, I just wish I was wrestling. Like, just use it to your advantage because it will eventually build up over time. And that's why it says, like, with me now, like, our whole role was you as my manager. But now that I'm out, like, I don't even know when I'm going to come back. So I don't even know where my future is. But this is an opportunity now for you to, like, really grow and develop because you never know. They might be like, well, Drew's gone now, but we want you on the show still. So now we need to like push you. There's always a reasoning behind everything. And I definitely like I wouldn't worry because you will debut. It's just sometimes we just don't know when. But there is a reasoning behind everything.
There is indeed, there's always a reason. I think for me, what I want to see, I want to see the progression of JustJames. I would love to be on more shows. I think like as well. I'm only on Monday Night Ignite. I'd love to go on to like Friday Night Showdown.
You were on Showdown the other week, though, wasn't you?
Yeah, I mean that's my own personal restraints that's stopping me from doing it. But the character Just James, I mean, it went from me. I think I started off doing some wrestling training, but didn't want to be a wrestler. I was doing it more for the fitness side. And then they said, do you want to try being a ref? So I thought, all right, I'll get involved. I'll be a ref. And then from being a ref, I went on commentary. I went to ring announcing, sorry, and then went on to commentary. And then from there, I'm now the general manager. So it's like, trust the process, go with it. And I mean, my storylines and stuff like that, I love it, love it, love it. I love the bits where nobody knows it's going to happen apart from me and the promoter. They're the best moments that I've had at UK wrestling is like the surprise things, like even the commentary on Friday night. Sometimes when they don't know I'm in the building and the music comes on and I step out, and they're the best times. I think, yeah, I'd like to be on more shows, do more shows, get Just James' character continuing up and up. I don't know how my story is going to go, but there's like a feud with John and stuff like that. I don't know. I'd like that to go a little bit longer as well, because I think it's working at the moment. It's good kind of thing. Yeah. I wouldn't mind being like some wrestler's manager as well after the story's done kind of thing. But then I need to... But with that, it'd be hard because of the restraints, my personal restraints. But yeah, that's where I want to go at the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't have anything really other than just make my comeback. Obviously, I know like the plan for the next 2 months. But that's only because of the situation. But then after that, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know like how I'm going to come back. I don't know if I'm going to jump into a storyline straight away, or if it's going to be a surprise. But my main thing is just to get back and to show people a different side. And I want to, now that I'm not in a full-time job, I want to be able to get back into like the training again and the regular training, because as much as that was really fun, like, progressing within my personal career, it then kind of put a halt on wrestling, because it got to the point where like I wasn't able to train a UKW on like a Monday because of my job. So that was hard. I think the past couple of months this year have been really difficult, and have been really draining, and I was really looking forward to this break now. Wrong kind of break. But yeah, that's just my goal, is to just come back and tell really good storylines. Yeah, I like the storyline at the moment.
Not saying it's you, Drew, at all. So don't think I'm aiming this at you. But with you saying about people not like training and needing to come back training and stuff like that, you see it a lot. The ones that aren't training and stuff that are on shows are the ones that are making the mistakes and stuff like that, and that's because they've stopped the training. And it's for me, sometimes looking at it, I think a lot of wrestlers need to go back to basics, because they focus too much on the big moves and stuff like that. And then when it comes to like the bumping and the falling and stuff like that, it's really, really sloppy and stuff. And then it just...
Well, I mean, I can vouch for that, because obviously my fall with not...
See, I didn't even... You did that like near halfway through your match, didn't you? You didn't...
No, I did it literally on the end. So when I did the swanton, I overshot it because I was too like nervous about proper coming down, because it's different when you're doing it from the second rope. It's different. If you do catch that person, there's not as much height. But when you're on the top rope, when you've got that person coming straight on you, there's more impact. So I think for me, because I did it from the top rope this time,
you overshot
I tried to overshoot it so that that top of my back caught
Yeah.
Kirsty.
That's just accident though. That into
Yeah,
that.
and because I'd landed my left foot landed flat, but then my right foot landed on a slight angle and not flat. And then I knew I'd done something because I was like, oh, that felt a bit weird, but I didn't know I broke it. And then I pinned Kirsty, and then I kind of like got up because I was like, wow, like my foot feels really weird. In fact, I've got the shoe here, which is one thing. I'm going to be coming back with wrestling boots. But what I thought had happened was I thought this bit here had folded in on itself. And so I thought, oh, that's why I feel this pressure on the back of my heel. And then I rolled over just to check on Kirsty again. Then I rolled back and I was like, right, I need to get up now. So I started climbing the rope. And then as soon as Neil gave me the bell and I let go of that rope and I put my right foot down and I couldn't stand on it, I was like, oh, I broke it. And I was like, it's okay, don't worry, just act as if it's fine, just play along to it because you need to get out. And so like I carried on, like went on the top, like blew the kiss at the camera, like, you know, left.
And then you whispered to me, like,
on the
I've done
stage,
something.
wasn't it? On the
Yeah.
stage. I looked at you and I was like, do you need to like hold me
Help
right
me
now?
out.
I need to just get in
Yeah.
the back. And as soon as I got in the back and then everyone was like, oh, that spontan was sick. And I was like, yeah. And then as soon as they saw me on the floor, they knew something went right. And they was like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I've just hurt my foot. And I didn't want to worry anybody because it's like there still was one more match left. And like, I didn't want people to focus on me. Like, I wanted to just be like, it's fine, I'll deal with it. And then as soon as I got downstairs and like I knew that I couldn't walk on my foot, I just knew that I'd broken it. And I remember being in the back and I was getting dressed and it was me and Kirsty. And Kirsty was like, do you think you sprained it? I went, no, because I can't stand on it. I know it's broke. And she was like, God, you must have a really good pain threshold because I'd be crying right now. And I was like, it's fine. It is what it is. Like, I was just disappointed in myself because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to wrestle on Monday. And this whole build up was to go for Monday with Nisa, then to, you know, the next match. And so that was what really disappointed me. But yeah, it was just because I overshot it and my foot didn't land flat, you know. And it's happened a few times where like when I've been suplexed off the top rope and that foot hasn't landed flat. So it's not the first time it's happened, but I think this was just like the final thing then. So I think that's why it's made me realise that, okay, yeah, it's fun to do all these flashy moves, but I'm not young. And I ain't getting any younger. So I need to look after my body now, but also I need to be like, okay, yeah, you've proven that you can do these funky moves, but you don't need to constantly do them now. You can do a different style, and that's why I really want to change my style. But yeah, I'll be getting proper wrestling boots.
Can we? You know, like you're saying, you're changing your style. Could we possibly see the Crazy Drew gimmick?
Yeah, that'd be
Off a
cool.
little bit further.
I thought that was going to go even longer. Like, I actually wanted that to be like progressing. I didn't realize it was going to change so quickly. But yeah, definitely, the Crazy Drew can come back. I think now this is the great opportunity now because it's like once this storyline, you know, comes to an end, and then I get some time to kind of, you know, train again and rehabilitate. When I come back, I could come back as anything because I'll have had like a long break. So yeah, you might see a more aggressive side of Drew. Let's just say that.
Well, I'd like to see that, but yeah, as well. So at end of year, we're going to be JustJames takes over UK wrestling, Crazy Drew, Ashlyn, and Kourtney with that women's champion belt.
Hopefully.
You never know.
Definitely. Well, I think it's been a really good chat.
I do as well. I think
Yeah.
it's been a fun chat.
It has. We've had lots of people in stuff and asking us lots of lovely questions and stuff. But
Yeah.
I know I'm tired now. I'm gonna go to bed.
It's been nearly 2 hours that we've been
It
on.
has. They've had enough of us. If you want more, you'll have to get on
UKW.
yeah, or Magic Wrestling and tell him to get us back on again if you want to see us more. So it's up to you guys what happens. I'll leave this last little thing. What happens in wrestling is more to do with the audience and the punters and what they want. They have more pull and sway than what they think they do.
Definitely.
But yeah,
Liam back in. Is he going to come back in and?
I don't know. It's been 2 hours. We're going. I'll do what I normally do. Bye for now.